Everyday heroes, extraordinary vision, stories and inspiration from our world to yours. This is Unlocking Secrets for Women Radio. Hey, Raquel Cole, all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. How are you, honey?
I'm great. I'm really good. The sun is out and it is finally feeling like spring. So
the sun is out. Wow. So you are in Nashville, who was hit with that unfortunate tornado just a little while back.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing?
Everyone's doing pretty well. I will say it's interesting because it was like a good week of like tornado relief and then when all this started with the virus and lockdown, I'm sure that it's been kind of hard for people to get their homes back together, and but luckily we had like a good week that people were able to go out and really come together, and that was a really sweet thing to do, and crazy that we did all this coming together, and it felt really cool. And then it was like one day, no more.
Yeah.
Less distance.
Yeah, it's pretty dramatic extremes. And Nashville has a lot of celebrities that live within the area, and I'm sure that they helped contribute to rescue and support for people that were impacted by the tornado.
Yeah, definitely. There was quite a few like relief concert shows, and people were raising money for sure.
And now everyone, including you, are doing concerts from your house. And
yeah,
I'm so excited to have this fun little mini concert with you. And I just love you so much. And we have known each other for a super long time. And I know you weren't even 12 years old. You hadn't had your 12th birthday yet when we first met.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your little experience as an 11, almost 12-year-old with this crazy female here.
Oh my God. I will be really honest. I think a little 11-year-old me was like, oh, this is a really nice lady, you know? But honestly, like, it was obviously a God thing that we met at such a young age, for me, such a young age, because you've been such a mentor for me throughout the years. And I can't imagine my life without you.
Oh, Raquel. And I love you so much. I love your heart, your soul, who you are as a person, your deep commitment to faith and reality and humanity. You're a very honest soul. And not only that, your talent, you were a little triple threat, even back then with your singing, songwriting, well, more than a triple threat, singing, songwriting, playing, dancing, performing. You were something else. And I just loved you. The second I met you, I was so shocked by the depth of talent within you and the humility. And maybe because you were a little girl, but you're a woman now and you still have that humility. So it's definitely a character trait of yours. Yeah. You know what, honey, you're going to perform for us, and I'm ready for my glass of wine right here.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm going to send you an Unlocking Secrets for Women hat.
I need one of those hats. I was waiting for a good opportunity to say how baller you look. I love it.
Yeah, well, just have to be a little casual here in my house, but I wanted to just chat a little bit about your musical career. You've done some really amazing things. So why don't you just start telling me a little bit about your bio, what you started doing and the group that you were performing with, some of the countries you went to, and then your recording. Give me your little history there.
History, well, you met me kind of when I was starting to write songs. And so that's kind of what I tell people is the thing that got me noticed in the first place, because I could sing and I played guitar, but when I started writing songs, it was like, oh, this girl, even at this age, has something to say. And so I was just like literally always writing songs at home, and my parents took notice and took me to Nashville when I was 12 years old to meet with some people. And I had family that lived down here back then, and they introduced me to some different managers and A&R people. And just, I think they were like, I think our daughter's, pretty good at music, but we want to check in with professionals. So I don't know. It's just, I'm 27. It was my birthday just a few days ago. And
happy birthday, honey.
Thank you. And it's been a long journey. Like sometimes it's crazy to think how long I've actually been doing music and performing for people on stage. And I've done really cool things, to winning my first Canadian Country Music Award, to opening for artists like Josh Turner and Diamond Rio and Jonny Lang, and the band Perry and Brothers Osborne and Scotty McCreery and other people. And
Carrie Underwood.
Carrie Underwood, that was a really big moment. Yeah, that was cool. That was really cool.
Yeah.
So I traveled all over the US and all over Canada, and I love traveling so much. And so music has allowed me to go all over the place. When I was a young teenager, like preteen as they call them, I was in a little group with 3 kids from England, and we went to China. I was in England a few times, and in LA. And so I was in this recording studio when I was like 13 years old, recording with engineers and producers. And so it's been a crazy journey of just all kinds of crazy things that I've somehow managed to do already. But but I'm always trying to do the next thing, and so it's just sweet of you to say that, because often I wake up and I feel like I haven't done enough, and I'm still not enough. And and so it is good to kind of remind myself of all the things I've done along the way.
Absolutely. And not just are you incredibly talented, I can remember even back then when you were so little, some of the people that I had connected you with kept saying to me, where does she get the depth of lyrics for such a young girl? Like, so just tell me about, your writing was pretty prolific for a young lady, and you didn't have the life experience that went along with the words, and yet you seem to be able to just see them or articulate. What is it about you, honey, that can articulate those lyrics at such a young age? What did you see? What were you feeling when you were writing these songs?
Well, I think a couple things. I think I realize it now as an adult that I was really open as a child, and I spent a lot of time, not alone, but just perceiving the world around me. And I also went through a lot of things as a young person, meaning my brother was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes and other things that went on in our family and in life. And so I think I just had to kind of grow up a little bit sooner maybe than I would have wanted. It is what it is. But I remember I would just sort of write about what was going on in my life. And so the very first song that I wrote that I sang for people was called Simple Girl. And it was just about me and my relationship with God, and how I didn't need anyone but God in my life. And then I wrote other songs. I remember when my brother was diagnosed, I wrote this song called Why Can't You Believe? And it was about, why don't we believe in God and the miracles that he, does. And so I was just always taking what was going around me and putting it into songs. And I'm still doing it today, I guess.
You are. And not only that, you have a unique position. Not only are you an artist and a songwriter and recording artist, you've written a song that Marie Osmond has put on her album, which is so cool.
That was really cool. Can I show you something that I just got?
Please. I want to see.
Well, I decided to get one because I've never had a plaque before.
Yay!
And so the album went top 10 on the country Billboard chart. So they made some plaques to kind of just congratulate us. And I decided to order it because it was like a treat your artist day. Like, I need to look at this and remind myself,
Aww, that's amazing. And tell us while you're walking back to your chair, tell us the name of the song you wrote for her.
It's called Unbreak This Breakup. And it's, I think it's just really relatable. I think so. I won't say most of us, but I think a lot of us have broken up and wishing that we could unbreak the breakup, and just go back, even though we can't. So it's
how did it come about that she ended up recording your song?
So I wrote it with Jason Deere, Ben Truman and Chad Truman, and I write with Ben and Chad a lot. Not so much anymore because they don't live in Nashville anymore. But
that's the Truman brothers, right?
Yeah. We were actually writing for me, and turned out that Marie Osmond was recording an album, and Jason Deere was working with her, producing the record, and he showed our song to her, and she was just loved it and was like, I need to put this on my album. So of course I was like, yes, please. And I have the sweetest thank you note from her that she signed with her album, and she mailed it to me to say thank you for letting me record your song, and you sang beautifully, because she's heard the work tape, which was with my voice on it, and it was a really cool moment.
That is really precious. Yeah, I had a crush on her brother for most of my teenage life, but that's another story. So Raquel, now you are also a worship leader.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that, what you do, and why that matters to you so much?
Mm-hmm. Well, I always, I don't always, but sometimes if it comes into context, I tell people I'm a worship leader by accident. Meaning I grew up singing in church. That was actually one of my first places I'd ever done like a solo, and was really involved all the way growing up in church with music. But I was just very focused like on songwriting and wanting to move to Nashville or LA and pursuing my career as an artist. And I honestly, I never was very good at public speaking necessarily. I've gotten better over the years, because you can get better at things, I have learned. And so it really wasn't something that I was like seeking after. And it kind of, I lead at a church here in Nashville, and it kind of just sought me out. And it's funny how I was resistant to it, and resistant because I felt like I wasn't made to do that. I didn't feel like I was holy enough or good enough, or not even that, but just, it seemed like a really big responsibility. And I was just like, God, I don't feel like I can handle that. And I think me doing worship leading in my life right now is very much a testament of God saying, you can, and you will, and I'm going to carry you through it. And it's become one of the things I'm most thankful for in my life right now.
Plus you also do service work through missions that you travel.
Yeah. Which also puts me out of my comfort zone. But we went to Jamaica last year. We took a bunch of kids. And again, I was so resistant because I just was nervous. And it was, the most incredible experience of my life, honestly. Getting to just, we never went to the beach. I learned that the beach at Jamaica is not where the locals live. They live up in the hills, in the mountains, and they're just such beautiful people. They're struggling for sure.
It gives you a really big perspective on what the world is really like, unlike most of us who live in a very privileged first world experience. It's never really what we think it is it? No. And of course, your parents are very close to us. We are very, very close friends with them. We were fortunate enough to just be able to see them in Victoria by accident. And thank you for telling them that we were there, because we didn't know they were there.
I was like on social media, and I'm like, wait a second, aren't you all there together?
Which is amazing. They were like 5 minutes away from us, so we were able to share dinner together and say hi to your brother, and we love them very much. And of course, they are so gracious and host us every time we come up to the Okanagan, and that's another whole story about, Juniper Bay and floating out in Juniper Bay, which your mom and I have made an art of doing, which is hilarious, but that's for another time. But I just value you in this day and age of young people and what they're faced with and what they're offering. You are like this stalwart of authenticity, vulnerability, and honesty. And I love your heart and your spirit. I know you, Raquel, very well. And you have been open and shared your heart with me, and we've discussed many things together. But I've always loved your teachableness, your tenderheartedness, your willingness to take a look at you know, what can you do that's contributing to the world, and what can you do that opens your heart even more. And that's brave and courageous, and I love that about you. I really appreciate those qualities that you bring, because it's, you know, entertainment is a very, you know, superficial world, and we need to look really at the people behind that world. And you are that solid, human, real person who's really trying to do the very best you can with what God has given to you. And I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for the young woman that you've continued to be in the midst of what you could have turned left or right at any time, but you've stayed steady and true to yourself in that vulnerability. And I'm so proud of you. And
Thanks.
I love you so much. And
Thank you.
yeah, just so
That
proud
means so
of you,
much.
young woman that you are. And you know, you're like a daughter to me, and I love it when we come up to the Okanagan and you happen to be home and you sit
No, it doesn't happen enough anymore.
No, it will when the time's there, but you're out there on the porch singing to the world on the guitar, and we're all sitting around enjoying you, and it's a wonderful blessing. And as a result of that, I mean, I am like one of your biggest fans, and I don't mind telling anybody. One couple of summers ago, we took a friend of ours who was quite sick, actually, out on a boat. And it actually turned out to be the year before he passed away, which is amazing. And we shared this boat together with your parents, and we pumped your music on, and all around Okanagan Lake, we were singing at the top of our lungs to your recording. Yeah.
Good videos back from them.
So I love your songs. Jim has captured me on video, cleaning to your music, dancing around the house to your music, which I have no shame. I love your songs. I love even the very beginning songs to like your latest ones. And I've fallen in love with one of them that you're going to perform for us. So we're going to have our own little mini concert in a minute. But there's a song you've written a while back, and you're going to perform it for us, but it's called Space Between Us. And what's interesting is that I said, oh my goodness, of all the times in the world for that song to have meaning right now, like tongue in cheek, but seriously speaking, this song is like a really good motivator to say, create a space between us, even though that's not quite what it's meaning. Tell me about this song, why you wrote it, and who's been talking to you recently, or what requests have you had come in for people to say, hey, we need to hear that song right now.
Yeah, so it's actually was my favorite song when I made my EP over a year ago. It's called Personal Truth, and it's up on Spotify and iTunes and all the things. But one of the tracks is called The Space Between Us. And we kind of wrote it so that it could you could see it as a relationship song. But honestly, what was fueling the song when we were writing it was stuff going on in the world, and just how separated ideally we are from each other, and just we take sides and we let all the space come between us when we've come so far, meaning humanity. You know, we've been through so many different things together, and this virus is going to be one of them that we kind of have to come together. And so it is kind of funny because we literally we're doing the opposite of the song. We're creating like physical space, but the song really isn't about physical space. It's about understanding each other. And yeah, and it does really suit the times. And it's a song that I think you could use it to, you know, metaphor what's going on in the world, and you can use it to metaphor what's going on between you and a person, and just having misunderstandings.
And so what is it that you would hope that this song would do for people right now?
I hope it just encourages us to reach out. But I think, like, I've been to the grocery store or I've been out, and I feel like people are so fearful or scared, or it's like they're just looking out for themselves. And as much as we do have to take care of ourselves first and foremost in that sense, especially if we're physically distancing ourselves from each other, but I think it's like, take that step. And there's a lyric, I pulled up the lyrics so I wouldn't forget, but if you take a leap of faith, I promise a softer landing. And whatever happens in the past, the future is where we really want to be. And so I think we just have to also take a leap of faith that, like, if we love each other, even through this craziness, that there is a really good thing on the other side of it, which it just happens. It happens when we come together.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, I'm going to change the screen so that we see you. And
All
I
right.
would love for you to grab your guitar.
Ready.
And look at you. You're so ready. And looking forward to Space Between Us.
Thanks. All right. Why are we waiting any longer? We ain't gonna find nothing, no, any stronger. Every minute we're not in it, yeah, we're somewhere that we shouldn't be. No, we shouldn't be. We had such a good thing going. Now we're stranded nowhere, not even knowing how we let it. I don't get it, how we let it slip away, oh, slip away. Let's fill the space between us. Right now we're worlds apart. Why have we gone our own way when we come so far? So let's meet somewhere in the middle. You got the will, I've got a way. Find the place where our hearts unbreak. Let's fill the space between us. Still separated by misunderstandings. If you take a leap of faith, I promise a softer landing. Whatever happened in the past and the future is where we really want to be. Yeah, where we want to be. Let's fill the space between us. Right now we're worlds apart. Why have we gone our own way? We've come so far. So let's be somewhere in the middle. You got the will, I've got a way. Find the place where our hearts unbreak. Let's fill the space between us. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, come on, baby. Let's fill the space between us. Right now we're worlds apart. Why have we gone our own way when we've come so far? So let's meet somewhere in the middle. You got the will, I've got a way. Find the place where hearts unbreak. Let's fill the space between. Oh, let's fill the space between. Let's fill the space between us.
Yay! Oh my gosh, I had to work so hard not to be your backup vocals.
Oh.
I love that.
I wouldn't have been mad, but you might have been mad.
I love that so much. And you know what people don't know is that we had planned this big event in LA on March the 19th, and you were going to be performing live for 30 celebrity friends in a private event. And we had a very strong sense in really praying, even before March 13th, which was our leaving day. It was the Sunday, I think, that we had that very strong sense that this is not something we should we should pursue. And it was a hard decision to make, but clearly it was the right decision to make. And in talking with a lot of our celebrity friends and people that were excited to attend, they are so looking forward to meeting you when we do plan it again, which we will in the future.
Yeah.
And so I'm just excited to be able to offer this piece of you for them to have right now in the meantime. And I know they're going to love you, just like Stedman. And Stedman, if you're watching and listening, Stedman Graham, who has met you when you were quite little. You performed for him at one of my events in Vancouver. Yes. And he admired your talent even then and would be so proud of who you are now.
I was so excited to do that event with you. I remember it was like the first time I'd ever done something like that. It was so fun.
That was fun, and it was at the River Rock in Vancouver, Richmond, which was so great. And
my mom let me buy a new top for the show. Yeah.
Even Entertainment Tonight was there that night. They came and yeah, it was a lot of fun. So yeah. And so in closing, and I just so value your time with us, I have fallen in love with another song that you've written. I mean, I love all your songs. I love True Blue. I love Dusty. I mean, It's For Real This Time, Imogene. Like, it just will not stop, the amount of songs that you have. I just love them. And of course, everything you can find for Raquel is either raquelcole.com or you can find it on Spotify. She has stuff on iTunes. Yeah, and we'll talk about where you're going with it. But I'd just love for you, just before we close with this last song, can you tell me what some new projects are you working on and what's coming up for you? Tell me a little bit about that, and then we'll close with my favorite song.
Yeah.
Right now.
Well, I am always creating, so I'm going to be really honest with you. It's been a really hard time for, I think, the entertainment business right now. 2 weeks ago, I watched everything that I had going on the next few months literally cancel. So, and some of those things I'm no longer allowed to talk about because they were going to be announced and they're not happening anymore. But it's been a really sweet time to create and to get centered. And I think that it's a crazy world and we're always moving a million miles a minute. I am a workaholic for sure. I never know how to stop working. And it's been really good for me. It's taken me over a week to just chill out and stop, trying to work every day and what I can accomplish. And I do feel like God is saying for me and maybe for other artists, maybe this is just a time to reconnect with who you are and why we do music in the first place. And so I've been reading this book and I'm almost finished. It's called The Artist's Way. And I wanted to just open it up and just say for anyone that's an artist out there, because I think it's hard because all this stuff is going on and we think like, what can I do? What can I do? And there's just not a whole lot we can do right now except wait. Obviously people in the medical world and are doing what they can, but it's just a silly little thing that Julia Cameron put in her book. But God likes art. That's the part my parents would ignore. God likes art and I make art. That's what God likes for me. And the parent would ignore part is just what they're talking, meaning you could put anyone in there. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks about the art that you're making. And maybe this is just a chance to be creative, whether you're an artist or you're not an artist, or you want to be an artist, or it's just kind of waking up and asking what the child inside of you feels like doing, feels like playing. And there's never really a chance to do that. And so I've kind of been sitting in that space and appreciating it and going, I go a little bonkers or stir crazy sometimes, but trying to enjoy it.
That's beautiful. You have no idea how right on you are. The interviews that I've been doing, everyone has had a very similar theme to what you've been saying, and listening to that child within and that beautiful trust and understanding that that's really what it is all about, is that beautiful acceptance of self, acceptance of others, allowing people to be authentically who they are, loving each other wherever we're at, and finding out whatever God gift has been placed within you and giving it with all your heart. And I love that you shared that, and that's important for people listening, whatever their unique expression of art is.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause it's,
Totally.
yeah.
Music for me, but it can be whatever it is for. And just knowing that, I think we think that if we're not just doing, then we want to accomplish. And sometimes it feels tiresome, but there's something really sweet about listening to our child within, or our creative child, or our artist child, whatever you want to call it. And when we step into that, we usually find that we're accomplishing more later on, because we're actually stepping into things that we really feel connected to and called to, and we're not just running around and hoping, you know, that we get something done. So,
And that's really coming to peace with ourselves.
mm-hmm.
Absolutely. No conflict, just who we are individually.
Yeah.
Would you close us out with my favorite?
Yes.
And
Thank
I just
you
wanted
for having me.
Oh my
and
gosh,
you're so beautiful and just and beautiful and kind and smart and wise, and I love that I get to do one of these interviews with you.
Oh, you're so precious. And you know, the beautiful thing is about this song that I just fell in love with this song. I heard it and I started blasting it through the house, and Jim's like, my ears are bleeding. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. But I love it because I think it's the most beautiful, one of the most beautiful love songs I've ever heard. And I'm certainly not the expert on love songs around the world, but it's just touched my heart in a way that I can't even explain. And so if people are looking for, you know, virtual weddings, because I guess that's going to happen,
right?
You'll have your minister on Zoom, and then you two will be standing in your house, and then this could be your wedding song.
It would work. Yeah, that's hysterical. I'm into it.
Anyway, introduce
John. I have not released this yet. It's on YouTube. I have a live version on YouTube that I did opening for Josh Turner. But it's a song. It's a song for anyone that is doubting, or hurting, or hoping to find love, and or a partner in their life to share life with. And it started as this simple little melody with a, you know, not a very deep line, into, isn't it funny that when you meet someone you forget about all the heartache that you had, and then just giving that hope that, like, whatever you're feeling right now won't last forever, and you're going to meet someone and forget what it all felt like before, you know?
Gotta set everything right now.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, totally. So, I'm like so nervous. I'm like, I put my lyrics in the background, and like, usually I'm fine, but I haven't really played out in a while. It's my first online concert, so I'm sure I'll do one, but this is called Find the One. Out of nowhere, you least expect it. That's right, you guessed it. You can't miss it. It'll take your breath away, way past the stars, out of the park, straight to your heart. When you find the one, to grow old with, to see the world away, to ride the currents on this river of life. It won't be perfect, but it's all worth it, knowing they're forever by your side. Ooh, ooh. When you find the one, you won't remember how it used to be, without anybody out there in the lonely, all the disappointment and all the pain, all the heartache just fades away when you find the one, find the one, to grow old with, to see the world away, to ride the currents on this river of life. won't be perfect, but it's all worth it, knowing they're forever by your side. Ooh, when you find the one, oh, when you find the one, yeah. Ooh, yeah. It's just that easy. You won't think about it or wonder how it'll all work out. So don't give up now. Wherever you go, you'll know when you know. When you find the one.
Beautiful, honey.
Thank you.
Oh, bye. I love it so much.
I miss you. Sending you a virtual hug.
I love you too. Thank you, sweetheart. And
Okay.
all of Raquel's information will be at the end of this. You can find the links. You can find Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. And I love you so much, sweetheart. We'll talk to you soon, honey.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, sweetheart.
Bye.